And are you live on yours?
Yep, we are good to go.
Awesome. Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Two Guys, One Gun. My name's Joe.
I'm Dark with DLD After Dark.
Yeah, I'm Joe with Shooting Gallery. We got to come up with like a catchy intro. Um, so let's see. We are the two
We're two
guys,
guys, and
and
this is a gun.
and this is a gun. Yeah, we got to come up with
Yeah,
something that it's a little bit more like has a catch to it. But yeah, this is the second episode, guys. The Two Guys One Gun podcast. Like we said, I'm Shooting Gallery. He is DLD After Dark, and tonight we're going to be talking about the Palmetto State Armory Dagger. But before we start the show, as always, we got to ask. We got to first of all ask all you guys to make sure you're liking this video on both of our channels, wherever you're watching it from.
yeah.
We do have a 20-second delay, so me and Dark will be watching the comments on both sides, so we can, if there's any questions or funny comments or people just need a shout out, we will be doing that. I see on my end, I see Johnny Barr out there,
Johnny
Bauer,
Ball.
Bauer's Auto Parts, Dang Old Matt. I
Dang
got
on Matt. That's
I
my
got
guy.
DOD, and we got Safety Haba Firearms out in the chat. He says, "Fired up like a 42." Yes, yes, we should. If you guys haven't checked out that YouTube video on my end, please do me a favor. It was one of my bucket list guns, getting to shoot a real deal MG42. Thank you, Walter, so much.
MG42. Bro, that's huge. And not only is it actually huge, I mean that's a big deal, is what I
Yeah.
mean.
Oh, yeah. It's a behemoth of a gun. Like
Mm-hmm.
behemoth. I My plan was I wanted to shoot down a tree that Walter had on the range at the clandestine shooting facility.
That would be
Um,
awesome.
but all right,
From Langley.
do you got anybody on your end that needs a shout out?
Yeah, let me just go through here. Looks like, hey, Mike McClune, how's it going? Great to see you. We got. It looks like mine just went live, so I may be slightly behind. Already got a thumbs up. This is beautiful. But yeah, it looks like because mine was slightly delayed. We just got Mike McClune the goon up in there right now. So,
Mike
uh,
McClune, he's the man.
mhm.
And I
Oh,
have
and
our
Xanthi.
brother.
And
Yeah,
Xanthi, guys, you gotta understand that my bad, not to cut you off, but Rumble is like 27 seconds behind, so sometimes it takes a little bit. But Xanthi Misfit is in the building as well. So Xanthi, shout out to you and all my usual viewers that usually come over to my little tiny YouTube channel. This is an honor to have you here. A lot of you guys are already watching under Shooting Gallery New England's, and I would encourage you to do that. Do so. Stay there. We are going to, moving forward, be making a Two Guys, One Gun place for all of you to unite and come together. So, more on that later.
yeah, of course. And we have our brother in Christ, Damien Christ, out there.
Oh,
Um,
grotesque.
all right, so the PSA Dagger, Dark. How what I have to say, this gun is probably one of the guns. When I moved down, I think I have the same one you do, except I have the window cuts and I don't have the threaded barrel. But we literally have the same gun, and we have the same optic. By the way,
Oh yeah, that
look at that.
alpha, that
Look,
alpha baby. Is yours the alpha or the rock? Oh, yours the
I
alpha.
I got the Alpha. Gideon
Yeah.
Optics Alpha. Okay, check them out. We got discount codes for both. But I got the red dot. How do you get the green? I get the red.
Oh, it's moving. This was a prototype green dot. They were discussing doing a blue dot for me, but for people out there that may not know, there we go. Dangomat, Xanthi, Spin 360, Mike McClune, all you guys, love y'all. So while they were discussing doing a blue dot for some folks out there that may not know, the whole theme of my channel is blue. My logo is a blue chem light, being a blue. Some people call them glow sticks. They're chem lights. They're lights that light up due to a chemical reaction, so they're chem lights. Anyway, I got a green one, and then they actually did a full production of green and red. This was very early on, and I wanted to put it on a dagger specifically because oh, look at this, Sport Brandicus, Johnny Barr, all you guys. It's great to see all you guys showing up, man. Appreciate you guys. Now, the cool thing is looking at the evolution of the dagger,
Oh yeah.
and they're not like stupid and simple. Like they're not like this is dagger V2.0, V2.3. They're just like let's do this, change it, and then sell it.
Yeah,
And then
there's no generate. That's one thing I noticed with the PSA data. There's no generational changes.
yeah,
It was I thought it was actually quite funny. I let's bring up this. I'm gonna bring up the specs here. This is off the Palmetto State Armory
yep,
website. We last episode we did the 19X, and great episode. Got great reviews and everyone liked it. So we're gonna start this episode off with the specs of the PSA Dagger. Now
if
it
you want.
can.
If you
What's
want,
it?
just real quick, if you want, run through the specs, and then I'll run through kind of the launching of it, like how it launched and all that,
Yep, I have that
and
up.
then, all right, cool, all right, cool.
All right. So, and guys, this is not a full spec list because there are a few different things. Because some people might get a full size dagger. We're kind of talking the dagger. When the dagger was released, it was released as a competitor to the Glock 19. So this would be the Dagger Compact.
Yeah, yeah,
Some slides have different slide cuts. Some have different red dot cuts. But the out the box specs are it's a 9mm striker fired pistol, size of a Glock 19. The weight is 22.4 ounces unloaded. Overall length is 7.65 inches. Width is 1.28 inches. So the overall, I don't care about the height. Thread pitch is half by 28.
mm-hmm.
Just saying, silencer co. If you're out there,
Bro,
industry standard.
I mean, come on,
Add
13,
add the goddamn piston in there, please.
yeah, mhm,
The barrel length is 4.5 inches. Barrel material is stainless steel. Twist rate is the SAMI spec 1 in 10 twist. Slide material is stainless steel. Slide finishes are usually DLC coated. The frame is a polymer frame of various different colors. They have so many different color options. And most of them are coming co-witness, blacked out front, and it could change depending on the SKU number. And then the safety is a striker block safety / and trigger safety. So it's essentially the trigger hinge, which is your safety. Plus, remember, guys, safety is between the ears.
yep,
Yeah, those are the specs, and it comes with one 15-round PMag.
mm-hmm. Got the PP mag,
The
and
PP.
yeah, the interesting thing is, well, a couple things. The first generation of PMags that came out didn't work, like the 17s that dropped didn't work with shorter magazines. This is unrelated to the Dagger, and a lot of people kind of got a bad taste in their mouth with PMags. So when certain guns come with PMags, they're like, "Oh, I'm just immediately going to get OEM Glock mags," and I get it. I prefer OEM Glock mags. I prefer OEM Glock parts. And at the same time, give the PMag a chance, bud. Okay, because
I've had no issues with my PMags. No
me either.
issues.
Aside from the first generation of PMags that came out, there were 17s. If you used them in 19s, 26s, the angle was just slightly off, and it as the angle of all those Glocks are different. They did not work in the smaller Glocks. But as they changed those and also came out with the 19s and others, they were totally fine. Also, somebody, I believe it was a viewer of mine, Freakistang, said so eloquently when somebody was talking trash about PMags. They had said, and people still talk trash about daggers coming with PMags, but would you expect them to put OEM Glock mags in each one? Like, come on, it's a budget gun, right? um when people said like, oh, PMags, Glock PMags are trash, he said they're so bad, they're so shitty that Shadow Systems includes 3 in every pistol purchase. you
Exactly.
know
Yeah, and that's the thing. Think of it like this, guys. PSA is a company that wants to arm every able-bodied American
yeah.
in the fastest way possible
Mhm.
for without sacrificing quality and all that, and
Yep.
for a price that the common man can afford. If you start adding OEM Glock mags within the PSA Dagger of any SKU, that price is going up another $50, and
Yeah,
it's
which
starting.
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we got to be understanding of this kind of stuff. I mean, interestingly enough, when the PSA Dagger dropped, it was introduced at SHOT Show 2020, And if you guys remember, around 2020 to 2021, an interesting few things happened. There was a
Man,
yeah, Koof, excuse me.
well, we're on Rumble, so we can say the
Yeah, yeah.
the Covidicus. That's why we're doing live streaming on Rumble, because we can actually pick up guns and hold them without getting our streams canceled. Um, but that was one thing I did find interesting, is that the dagger was released literally the year that the Covidicus happened.
Yeah, yeah, and interestingly enough, when they were announced, a lot of times with PSA when they announce things, like we still wait for them. Like for an example, the PSA MP5 still waiting,
That's
right?
that's
Like
not coming. That's never coming. That
I know
is
it's not coming. That's the joke, right? It's like we're all still waiting for the PSA MP5. We're all still waiting for the PSA Jackal until the Jackal dropped, right? Or even the Micro Dagger, right? They just they do things in their own PSA way, and I'm sure there's reasons, right? But when they announced it in 2020 at Shot Show, and there were some whispers prior to prior to that. I wish I could set this right here, but it's too low and it literally all disappears. I'll find something to put it on. But anyway, uh, nothing happened for like 7 months, and then they were dropped. And then when they dropped the first dagger, here's an interesting thing. Can I screen share something here?
Yeah, of course you can.
So in 2020, when they dropped these, the first generation of daggers, I want you guys just to look at this now. Now look at the guns that Joe and I have in our hands, and then go ahead and screen share that photo that I have down there. It's things have changed here. That look, the original dagger slide was super blocky,
Oh
ugly.
yeah.
It just did not have the same cuts. It didn't have the it just had a different vibe to it. And I don't know if they just slightly started changing the machining or what, but it wasn't that attractive. The other thing is that with some of the earliest models, they started having some issues with the trigger pins walking out. So
Yep. Yep. I
the
remember hearing about that.
Yep, yep. And they made some changes again. They went to two roll pins. This is a lot of people call it a unique LBRS locking block rail system. Um, I would call it a R&D system, aka ripped off and duplicated. That's if you look at Polymer 80, if you look at a lot of the 80% frames out there, and some of the other Glock frames on the market, they used a locking block rail system that was integrated. So they integrated the locking block and the rail system together, and they hadn't had a lot of problems. But when they introduced this, you're talking about at the time a sub $400 gun. Now these can be had for way less. I think I paid the $249 for this one, with the threaded barrel, with the Ameriglow night sights. I'm not too fond of the tritium, the suppressor height night sights. I like standard sights, even with a red dot. But this was $249, and um, most in most cases you can walk off the lot with a Gen 3 Glock clone for sub $300, depending on the model that you get and depending on if you get it firsthand or secondhand. But they also did, I mean, the work that they did on the frame was great. I think they took some inspiration from the Polymer 80 frame. If you look at the trigger guard here, it's a big relief cut, and it has that weird double. I swear,
Yeah, I
there.
never understood the double cut on the front trigger guard.
Oddly enough, there are human beings out there that bring two fingers around the trigger guard.
But
I could never, ever imagine firing a handgun like that.
that is just so awkward. Just holding that is so awkward.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I got I got larger hands like yourself, and I feel that the dagger ergonomically was much more pleasing in my mind, because when this came out, I still lived in Massachusetts, so I didn't have a chance to try it, never had a chance
Yeah.
to shoot it. So this is one of the first guns that I bought factory. I didn't buy a frame, and I didn't. And guys, for you guys that know, watch my channel and all the videos we've done. Yes, PSA did send me this gun. I did have to pay for it though. I got it on a special price, so I literally bought this with my own money, and one of the things I was really interested in was again the price, but also the ergonomics. I never understood that double undercut though, because as I hold
Yeah.
this grip, like your back strap comes in right here, right into the beaver tail, and it just fits my hand like a glove. So if I went to go put my support hand on it, I can see maybe getting that front finger on that bottom loop, but that two fingers, it's like no, like
It's just like, dude, this is not an 80s action flick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
come on, can we please do something else? I and I understand, I guess, like there's probably some reason that I or we may not be aware of, but the reality is all of us can sit back and say thank you, PSA, for making it very difficult to find holsters or to use OEM Glock holsters with this system. Now, some holsters
I was gonna
do
say
work.
because they did say at release that they were gonna fit in most Glock 19 Gen 3 holsters.
Hmm.
This is my North Coast Tactical Tuck holster. Shout out to the guys over at Black Diamond
Nice,
Guns and Gear and North Coast Tactical, the homies.
nice.
And a little bit tight on the release, but it does fit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think depending on the system, it will usually fit depending on what kind of holster it is. If it's a light bearing holster, if it's a Safari Land holster, if it's I think it would probably fit in Safari Land holsters because the ALS system is locking on to
The
the
light.
chamber area. Well, and there's some kydex that where it's locking into the light, but it depends on the system, right? Some like the leather will definitely like leather holsters will definitely have to kind of work with it and kind of be broken in to work with it. But either way, it took some inspiration from I believe the Polymer 80. It's got a high undercut. It's interestingly enough, this has kind of been rare in especially in the Glock uh, clone remake frame world. um, they decided to put a palm swell in there, which actually works. I think it's comfortable, and because it has a very high undercut, and because the bottom of the frame kind of swoops out almost like magwell-ish, and it does have somewhat of a beaver tail on the back there, it holds your hand pretty high, and it's comfy. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's super comfy. I think if my personal you know what? We'll get to the what things we would
Yeah,
do differently.
we'll get to that. But what I'd like to kind of start talking about is when this gun was released, there was a lot of things that ended up happening. Again, COVID happened. At that time, they couldn't have released this gun at a better time
Yeah.
because when they released it and it said I read somewhere where they were trying to get it third quarter of 2020. Third
Mhm.
quarter of 2020, look what happened.
Yeah.
Third quarter of 2020 is what, mid July, July, late August, September, maybe.
So, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that was when lockdowns were happening.
Mhm.
Everyone was stuck in their homes. A lot of states were still shut down. I was working at a gun store at that time, and it was crazy, absolutely crazy.
People were buying firearms at a rate that we had never seen before in the United States. The amount of NICS checks were insane. These daggers would have already sold out like immediately just because of the price point, the what they are for what they cost, they would have sold out. But the fact that Glocks were almost unavailable at that
Yep,
point, right?
Glocks weren't available. M&P,
Mhm.
M&P was it the M&P compact that was the same size as Glock 19. That was non-existent. M&P 2.0 full size, no. Um, anything that was about $600 and below, not having it. Like you're
Dude,
not getting it.
my brother bought his first Glock. I think he got a Gen 317 for like 799. Yeah. Because that's what gun stores were doing. They were
Yeah,
like, dude, if that's what the market is doing, now that's kind of shitty, I think, in my opinion. But
it's capitalism. Like I can understand raising your prices 10, $20 just to, you know, be somewhat competitive, but at the same time, like, okay, you have to keep some stock. Like you got to provide it. Now PSA drops the dagger, and I think it started with an MSRP of like $300.
yeah, it depends on what model you got, but
Yeah,
329, 349, 379, depending on what you got.
yeah.
And
So
they also included what are people's biggest complaints about Glocks? The fact that they have this remarkable firearm and they drop these shitty plastic dovetail protectors in as sights, right? Like,
yep, and they dropped it with steel sights or
yes,
aluminum sights, whatever metal it
steel.
was.
Oh, there's steel 3-dot sights, which is a good, like, look, you could take this gun and put it in your waistband after, of course, testing and being certain that it's trustworthy. You could take this gun and put it in your waistband without changing anything if you wanted to, right? It's at least trustworthy enough at that point. It's got the upgrades, steel sights, regardless if I mean, they're not the best, but they're better than polymer, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very comfortable grip and all that stuff. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So no problem. And real quick, guys, I am still looking over the chat. I see Safety Harbor Farm saying supply and demand. Of course, yeah, they that's
Hmm.
what gun stores have to do. Damien Christ is saying LE trade-ins; those were also a big thing at that point in time.
Hmm.
I see Michigan for Conservatives, which I think is MC out there. What's up, brother?
Yep.
Uh, Johnny Barr is telling me he's got his peanut butter dagger with the threads,
Nice.
DA threads,
Good
and
threads.
Safety Harbor Farms is also saying LE trades are the deal now and again for all the Glockners. Yeah, I see
Hmm.
LE trade ins on Aim Surplus all the time. And I'm like, ooh, LE
Yeah.
trade in 17. I could go for that. But,
Dude,
whatever.
Gen 5's going for like 379. What? Bro.
Next time I see that deal, I'm gonna hop on it. But so now we have the COVID crisis. Guns are going out
Mhm.
crazy.
Record breaking Nick's
Record
checks.
breaking
Like,
Knicks checks.
yeah.
PSA at that time, because I talked to our friend Josiah from PSA. He's been on both of our channels. You guys check out both of these episodes
Hmm.
on both of our shows. He told me he could, like, as quick as the daggers were going up in the daily deal emails, they were sold out. Like,
Yeah.
you get the email. By the time you go to click your SKU, put your credit card in, sold out.
Yeah, it got to a point where literally people were like showing on threads, videos, and things like that. They were saying, guys, uh, if you watch their PSA's actual stock updates at like 3:34 p.m. Eastern. So like people were setting alarms and like just going and watching and waiting. And the moment that they hit, boom, it takes a minute to check out a PSA if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
And I mean a lot of the same issues happen with the micro dagger, which is another conversation, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
it was blowing up.
So what they were smart though is all this stuff was going on in the world,
Hmm.
especially the U.S. Record breaking gun sales, Knicks checks. They couldn't keep daggers in stock. But every time they
Hmm.
went out, boom. Now, what they did with the industry is they were like, okay, we're putting our money where our mouth is. So they go to the industry and say, hey, we're going to take one dagger that we have and we're going to send it out to every effing influencer out there
Hmm.
for 1,000 round review.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hank Strange got one. He put 1,000 rounds through it. I know Safety Harbor put 1,000 rounds through it. I don't know if Babyface P put so that was 3,000 rounds right there. And
Hmm.
then Tactical Toolbox, Iraq Veteran,
Hmm.
Military Arms Channel. I want to say Honest Outlaw and a couple other of the big three. The Gun Collective got it. So at this point, it was up to like 15,000 rounds, and
Yeah.
like with minimal issues. Obviously, 15,000 rounds, you might have to replace something here or there, but almost nothing. So that was the proving ground for that. And what it
Mhm.
did for the industry also is, okay, it's a gun that's coming in at three 300, 340, 350, depending on the SKU.
Yeah.
All these other companies are like, holy shit, PSA is like having the monopoly on the market for striker fire 9 millimeters.
Yeah.
Like it's, okay. So correction, Safety Harbor said they put 1,800 with Hank using all kinds of different magazines too. Um, let's see, making sure. Okay, cool. Well, other than the Glock 20s. Yes, I know, MC. LE trading Glock 20 is going to be hard to find. But so,
They're out there. I actually just saw an email. We could talk offline about it. But MC hit me up. I saw a place for stuff.
so now all these other companies are saying, okay, PSA is having the monopoly on the striker fired 9 millimeters. They
Hmm.
like everyone's trying to get the dagger. I remember when I was in mass, everyone was like, I want a dagger. I want a dagger.
And
Unfortunately,
they're advertising. We just had this too. They were advertising that these are USA made, USA. So that's even appealing to more. I can't confirm that stuff, y'all. That's what I'm saying. They're advertising. I don't know for certain that everything on the dagger is made in America from American made steel that was chewed on by grizzly bears. I have no idea. All right. I'm just saying that,
I
like,
think I would I'm willing to believe that it is all American made. Um, so everyone's rushing around trying to get the dagger. You get
mhm,
guns like, you know, uh, what came out after the dagger is what I'm trying to remember. Sig came out with the macro, which had nowhere close to the dagger pricing. 17 rounds, but that concealed carry dual gun. The dagger is like a dual gun to me. You can
yeah.
do it. You could conceal carry it, home defense, duty, competition. It's that perfect size.
The Taurus G2C, G2, like that line came out, and
Yeah, the
they're like,
Taurus G3C. Yeah, the
yeah,
Taurus G3C, the
they're like, these
GX4.
take Glock sights. Like,
Yeah,
all right, for about
the
the same price, maybe a
yeah.
little less.
Yeah, and I think the PDP came out right around the same time after that. I believe about a year and a half after the dagger. So now
Mhm.
people are going around, but they're still, the industry is still sticking at that $600 entry level handgun for the most part, unless you go to like places like Taurus or like, um, what's another popular one? A Ruger or
I mean,
something like that.
even the earlier Canics were
Yeah, the Canics. Yeah,
very, very inexpensive.
$400, I think, for a regular
Uh-huh.
TP9.
Yep.
So you have that. You have a proven gun where pretty much all the people that they watch YouTube channels have at least 1,000 rounds through every video. Mr. Big
Mhm.
Kid was involved with that too. Like
Yep.
everybody. Um,
And I think that broke that. Well, sorry, I don't mean to keep spinning off track. You go ahead and finish your thought, and then I'll jump in.
but what PSA was smart in down the road because okay, they want to keep people happy. They want people to get their hands on this. They started to evolve within the dagger lineup. They had a full size. I think they still came out with a full size dagger relatively after the compact. The dagger came out.
Yeah.
They started offering frames, slides, pretty much adding catering to the builder community. You and I
Mhm.
both we buy frames all the time. We buy receivers. We're builders. We like to tinker. We like to
Mhm.
assemble stuff. We like to put stuff
Yep.
together. So they have the people. They have that crowd of it's my first gun. This is all I can afford, or I want a gun just to protect myself. Then you got the guys like us that were like, it takes Gen 3 parts, which 90% of the aftermarket accessories and aftermarket parts out there are Gen 3
Mhm.
compatible.
Yep.
So you have guys like us that want to tinker. We want to build. We want to, you know,
Assemble something like custom, like just for us.
yeah, just for us. Yeah.
And it may be said because like you're saying, they started selling slides by themselves, slides and barrels with upper parts kits and sights, individual parts. You could literally go and individually select every single dagger part individually. I mean, don't do it. It'd be stupid, right? But
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing in the world.
yeah, but it's cool in the fact that How many manufacturers do you know that literally list for sale every single part, every internal part, just on their website that anyone could go buy at any point? Usually, like back in the day, like it wasn't that easy, right? You can't even just like call Glock and get a new striker. You have to go through their dealers, their verified dealers, and all. It's just it makes things easier, right? And because they were selling slides here, barrels here, sights here, doctor cut slides, RMR cut slides, whatever, just kind of advancing the brand in that the dagger is for everyone, whether it's a regular blue collar worker dude, or somebody that doesn't have a whole buttload of money to spend on a gun, but they know Glocks by their design are reliable, so they want a Glock style firearm, but they don't want to drop more than 350 on a platform. This is perfect. Or if they have builders or 3D printers or 80%er dudes that want to jump in and throw something together, they can do that, right? Now, it may have been said by some person that is in some type of executive position within PSA, but they said that they would never just come out and outright say this publicly. However, um, somebody may have said at some point, that we would never come out and say that we are 100% supportive of the 80% community, the 0% community, the 3D printing community, and all this stuff. But if you take a moment and you look at our website and you see that we offer every single individual part to, be able to assemble and build your own, and just come on and buy a complete slide for $199, it would be wise to assume that we're supportive of that movement. If somebody like that said something like that, it'd be cool.
And that's the thing.
You can tell they're supportive of builders by their actions, not by what
Exactly.
they say.
Exactly. Because it would be a PR nightmare if somebody high up there said, "Yeah, no, we're totally, we're for it." Like, say they sponsor like the gunmakers match or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
that would be a PR nightmare.
Yeah, they're being attacked every day anyway.
Yeah, they're being attacked every day for the dumbest stuff, and now they're going to double down and go towards a part of the firearms community that already has a lot of scrutiny and already has eyes on them
At
for
a time when frames and receivers are going in front of the Supreme Court, and
yep.
we're dealing with the issues that we are, and don't even get into like 3D printed frames and things like that, because something like that, man, the ATF likes to make a big deal and put this huge table out of all these illegal firearms and illegal machine guns, and they just so happen to put 80% firearms and 3D printed firearms, and which are totally legal, totally lawful frames, lawful P80s, lawful 3D printed guns, and a lawful serialized Barrett, but they couple all of them together to make it look like they're wrong and illegitimate. So maybe one day someone's neighbor hears, somebody, "Oh, I 3D print guns, I build guns, I," and then, so anyway, sorry, but that's probably why they don't want to necessarily associate themselves with that openly, but by them putting all those parts for sale,
Oh yeah.
just being able to go on and be like, "Hey, I just need a slide," or whatever. Boom, you
Yeah,
got
they
you.
sell strip slides. I think they sell strip dagger frames, if I'm not mistaken.
They do for like $40, and they got blue ones, different colors of blue. They got
I
navy
saw
blue
that,
and baby
yeah.
blue. Hmm.
Dude, I saw an all gold one before, and it was pretty nice. I put a short up on a YouTube channel.
Really?
If you're out there, my buddy Dave, he used to be a customer of mine when I was a gunsmith down here in Florida, and I worked on all of his family's guns, and they were huge PSA Dagger fans. Like, and I'm talking like everybody in the family had a dagger, and
Nice.
I would, they'd buy the frame and say, "Okay, I want to put the Overwatch precision trigger in there. Oh, I want to put the Timney Alpha trigger," which, because of my buddy Dave, is the reason why I'm fallen in love with the Timney Alpha trigger.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing trigger to put on the dagger. We're going to get into upgrades in a second here, but
Mhm.
the fact that you can get a purple, robin's egg blue, gold, I think like a bright, like a rose red. Then you get the flat dark earth, all OD green, sniper gray, regular black, and then what's the other one? They just have like a non-FD. It's not like an FDE, but it's a tan. It's
Yeah,
not.
they have like OD green. They have I've seen a bunch of different
Yeah,
colors that they
I
do.
think they
It's
have a pink one too. They have pink ones.
yeah,
Like you name it, like they got a color for the frame. So it's just they have that ability for people to get creative, especially the builder or like you said, the 3D printed or
yeah.
0%, 80% community. They have the parts for everything.
And
Um,
also the AR. I know we're talking about the dagger specifically here, guys, but you can tell what a company is about when you go and look through their, the items they have for sale, and they have like builders kits. It literally says builders kits. It's clear as day. Even with ARs, they have uppers, they have, all their parts listed. It's dope. I like it. I'm about what they're doing.
I'm yeah, and that's not to mention I think a portion of every dollars that they get from everyone buying guns and stuff from them, they put back into the industry where like they support like organizations like FRAC, which is more of like the industry advocacy, but Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition. So they're giving back to
Nice.
the industry as well.
I
Which
don't personally support fracking because I heard that's bad for fishies. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Totally joking.
I've only heard the only reason I know about frack is when the stabilizing brace stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Our brother Damien Christ says, "God bless PSA." Uh,
Mhm. Dude, they're
the
doing the Lord's work. They are. I mean, that
yeah,
we're out here. We have our channels so we can, get our message out to, achieve certain things, to encourage people to become armed, to, strap check, to make sure that,
strap check.
strap check. And they're doing so at a fair price. They could be cracking heads, dude. At a time that they launched, when Glocks were barely available, they could have absolutely come in at $50 less than a Glock, and they could have sold them. Now there are some differences, obviously, when you look at, and they're the naysayers out there. I'm just saying they could have made a buttload of more money if they chose to, right?
But that's not what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
wanted the American people to have the ability to arm themselves
yeah,
and not have to break the bank. I've
yeah.
heard Josiah actually say this on a podcast where he knows for a fact people that have to save $50 a paycheck for close to 3 months to afford. When they're like, "Hey, I want to defend myself," and people are out there, depending on the financial situations, where I've been, and I'm there at certain points in life
Yeah.
where you got to put 50 or $100 away if you're looking to save up the enough money, because again, family household stuff comes first, but at the same
Mhm.
time you want to be able to defend yourself. People are putting little bits away here and there,
Yeah.
and then you get the quality of the dagger and the fact that they're coming optics ready now, which everyone's getting into optics. So you get
Yep.
something like the dagger and then go over to Gideon Optics and pick up
Mhm.
an optic for sub 550. You get
Yeah. Both.
yeah, you get both.
Yeah.
Now customization, obviously, it's a Gen 3 Glock. Certain
Can I
things
hit on
aren't.
one quick thing I just
Yeah,
wanna add really
go
quickly?
ahead.
Just before we swap over to that, I think it's important to notate that there are a lot of naysayers out there that say the dagger costs less because the quality of the materials is less, so therefore you're paying for a shitty gun with shitty materials, and I just wanna say that is untrue. It is a different type of steel, right? The difference between like 416R steel and 4140 chromoly steel, are they different? Absolutely. Are they different from a standpoint of like longevity? Yes, they are. But the thing, and I don't think actually the dagger is, I think a lot of their prototypes were 416R, but I think it's actually a different kind of steel. But either way, it is a more economical steel. But just because something is made out of a different material doesn't mean that it's less than. And a lot of those naysayers will say that. Would I prefer to have, yeah, dude, I got like 40 Glocks, literally, right? Like, would I prefer to have a $2,000 Gucci, like Zevo Z9 and whatever, right? Like, yeah, those are cool. I'm just saying that for, like you're saying, for the dude that has to put $50 a check away, $25 a check away for 3 months just to be able to arm themselves. Most most dudes out there that are into guns aren't as committed as some other people are, like let's say as we are. So where we may see a gun and be like, okay, the Geisley Super Duty, that's, $1,600, and go buy that. Some people, if they see a pistol and they see like a Glock Gen 5 MOS and they're like, okay, it's 625, they couldn't imagine dropping $700 out the door on a pistol, right?
Yeah.
So it's much easier to swallow. Pause, no homo. It's much easier to swallow that
On
pill.
a podcast of two guys, one gun. Okay.
I know, I
I
know.
made a joke last week. You're making a joke this week. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yes, yes. It's much easier to swallow. Like, okay, I can try. Like this one, literally, a dude owned it before I did, and he fired 0 rounds of ammunition through it. He carried it for a little bit, which I can't believe he carried it without firing it, but whatever. And then I bought it for $249 at a gun shop. Like you can't. I have a Gen 3 Glock for $249. Now, does that mean that, oh, well, it's inferior materials, it's going to fall apart? Absolutely not. Shoot it, break it in. I do believe, these types of guns need and deserve a good break-in period. Make sure it can run with your carry ammo and carry that shit. And I honestly, I love the way the Dagger shoots. I think
It's so comfortable. It is.
yeah.
I like it better than my 19s, and I've had, it's like you, a lot of Glock 19s, and I like how the Dagger shoots more. Granted, I just have a stock trigger in this, not the
Mhm.
best, but again, for that job, like I'm definitely gonna upgrade to a uh alpha trigger just
Yeah.
because, like, I think that's like best trigger out there.
And I know that's where we were going, and I interrupted you, so my apologies. But I'm with you on that, and I got some thoughts on the upgrades as well. So please continue.
So again, it's a Gen 3 Glock. It takes pretty much most Gen 3 Glock upgrade parts, most of them. The
Hmm.
only difference is that if you wanted to get like colored pins or anything like that, these take roll pins in the frame instead of like the pin sets you can get for Glocks. I believe the striker safety plunger is different from Glocks, and the locking block obviously, but
The striker. So if you take out a standard Gen 3 striker and you take out PSA Dagger striker, there's a difference of one, the shape of them. So one is cylindrical, and one is like the Glock OEM is a very flat angled piece. Like you can look at the shape of a let me see if I can get back there. Look at that shape, right? How it's very rectangular on a standard Glock. Let me see if I can push this through here.
And real quick, as you're pushing some stuff through, I see
Yeah.
MC out there saying PSA products have always met and exceeded my expectations for the cost. PSA
Mhm.
always has been a good value in my experience. And we also got Chris Turtel out in the chat. Hello, hello, my love.
Good to see.
She says hello from Paris, Texas, chilling in the hot tub at the Airbnb. Good for you.
Nice.
Look at that. But yeah, so the PSA Dagger though for upgrades out out the box, I think it's a phenomenal gun. You're getting depending on the SKU, like this one, I have the window cuts, the suppressorized sights, cut for an optic, all that good stuff. The magazine release is a little bit more extended than a stock Glock, I feel. That's just me. I know some people might be like, you're wrong on that. Well, actually, the only thing I would change is the trigger. And I said that in my in-depth review of this gun, and that is with, like, again, PSA sent it to me. I had to pay, I paid a little bit less of a price, but I paid for this gun with my own money.
Yeah.
So the only thing
And,
I would change is the trigger.
and that's all. So this is an interesting thing. You guys are literally looking at two YouTubers that literally purchased almost the same exact gun with our own money. These were not sent to us by PSA. PSA, well, I mean, you got it on T&E, right, which is different, and you
And
purchased it.
I bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So You can trust us because we bought them, guys. But
you can trust us. We're from YouTube.
yeah, right.
And
We're
one
from YouTube and we're here to help.
Yeah, exactly. And one real quick thing. I know I said trigger, but also new to me, the variant innovations null for your dagger. You can take a Glock 17 round mag, put it in your dagger. I'm not going to rack it because it's a hot mag, but you can add that extra grip where it gives you a little bit more of a back strap and it looks sexy.
Nice. It looks good. It looks
Yeah.
good. Also, in a pinch, you can take a Beretta magazine, right? And I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah,
joking.
I
Sorry,
was gonna
guys.
say, I'm like,
What? There actually are a lot of cross compatibility magazines there, but no, sorry. So getting back to it though, the you can remove the roll pins and use standard pins, but be aware, guys, if you start to put a buttload of rounds through, and honestly, not even like a buttload. If you go to put like 250 rounds through it, you usually will see some walking of the pins. That is one of the reasons that they went to roll pins, and you have to aggressively punch the ever loving dog shit out of them
oh,
to get them out.
horrible. If you don't have good quality roll pin punches, you're breaking them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
I don't
Although,
know. The only trigger I don't know if it would work in this gun is the Johnny Glock's trigger because I know it's designed specifically for whatever Glock you put it in. I would be interested to see if the Johnny Glock's trigger would work in that, but
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know.
it's the same Gen 3 housing. It should. I don't know though. Um, what so I me and my good friend Marine Gun Builder, we had a conversation about this and how we talked about how much we love the dagger frame, right?
Yeah.
It's got the little bit of palm swells. It's got, man, this light keeps flickering. It's like bright, not bright, bright, not bright. I think that's when I gain channel members and lose channel members. It's like, literally
It's like
affecting
God
my,
approves.
yeah, yeah, right. So you got the little bit of a palm swell, you got a nice angle, nice beaver tail, nice undercut. It's a very, very comfortable grip, right?
So comfortable.
And I don't like, and whatever, some people may feel some type of way about this. I don't like how the magazine release is completely slick and untextured.
Yes,
Uh,
I have noticed that. It's not a huge bother to me
yeah, it's not a
because
problem or anything.
I could go and pick up a Strike Industries or a Glock store or
Yeah,
whatever extended mag release. Um, but
yeah.
yeah, the only other now again, you can customize them all to hell. Their warranty though is a lifetime warranty, unless you put. I think once you start adding like new triggers, if you're gonna send something in, you're not getting that trigger back, or you're not getting that part back. That's why they're unique in you can pretty much buy a custom gun that is factory. You can buy everything, and now that they're coming out with the saber daggers,
Yeah, I'm interested in those. I would like to spend a little more time with the saber daggers. I'm just
yes,
curious about them.
yeah, I'm also very curious. I'd like to see how they perform. I really like to try micro dagger.
Yeah.
Um, I know our buddy Josh from Black Diamond Guns and Gear. He had a little bit of issues at first,
Hmm.
and he I guess it's starting to work out a lot better. But
Yeah.
yeah, the now what would you change on a dagger?
So that's interesting.
Like, what is like your pros and cons? Kind of like what you wish the dagger would ship with to make it. Oh, I don't got to add anything to this. I don't need to do anything to this.
Yeah, no, I would definitely change stuff. I haven't changed stuff on this currently yet. However, it's not like a main gun for me, right? My currently I have four guns that are like my main guns. Aside from my EDC, I have my EDC, which strap check right now, carrying a Glock 43X with the TLR 7 sub with the Shield 20 plus 1 in that bad boy. And love it. Great gun. This is my go to. My primary on my gun belt is a Gen 5 45, all tricked out and beautiful. And then the gun on my nightstand. My nightstand safe is a Gen 545. Then I have my 19X, which is basically the same thing as a Gen 545, but it's Gen 3 and 5, whatever. We talked about that on the last episode. And then I have my Shadow Systems, which is a 19X size gun that's in my sack, right? That's in for
Here,
people that
sack.
don't know. Yeah, people that don't know what I mean by that, it is my sack. Okay. Now,
Is that the one that Jerry Mitchell signed?
this is a different sack.
Okay.
Actually,
Oh, so you have 2 sacks. Okay.
so funny thing, I actually retired that sack because Jerry Mitchell, because Jerry's signature was starting to fade. I was like, oh hell no, we're not doing this. So I had to retain that signature. So if this was a carry gun for me, or is that pin already walking? Really?
I
It
will
is a
say
little bit.
mine's not. Mine hasn't walked. I have about after this weekend. I think I have close to 800 rounds through it, around there, close to 800 rounds, and nothing's wrong. Nothing. I've actually this has been my self defense weapon today for strap check. This is literally this with the 17. So, and I have the black
Right.
belt ammunition, 135 grain hollow point in there,
Nice.
standard barrel, and I actually have been having the Goon Beam WML weapon light, which is
Oh yeah.
apparently they just got some back in stock. I saw an Instagram post the other day. So.
Yep. And they may have some new rifle lights coming out, but I certainly wouldn't say that on a live stream in front of hundreds of people.
Use code DARK, use code JoJuice, 10% off your entire order.
There you go.
Look at that.
But really quickly, if this was a carry gun, if I was going to carry this, and if I had the intention of depending my life on it, the first thing is I don't like that this is a Glock with an M&P trigger. Okay.
Yes.
And it's not that I've seen some dudes. I actually read an article that a guy said that, like, if you're a seasoned Glock shooter, then you're not going to find comfort in the PSA Dagger trigger because it's like, what? No, it's almost exactly like a trigger, like a Glock trigger.
And then you want to go to them and say, hey, how many GSSF matches have you shot?
Yeah, for real, right? You're Mr. Seasoned Glock shooter, right?
Damn,
like,
okay. What's your GSSF rating, please? Just let me know so I can.
Yeah, I think it's doable. It's usable. I don't know shit about like metallurgy, but looking at the internal parts, they look decently made, right? They're different when you hold them right next to standard Glock OEM parts, right? But if I were to be like, okay, I'm going to use this to potentially save my life or potentially preserve the innocent life of my, child, daughter, right? I don't want to say her age because shit gets weird. There are people out there like looking for me and stuff, mostly federal agents. But anyway, I'm totally joking, by the way.
As they're just like, you got a dog.
Yes. So what I would do is I would punch out the internals, and then I would replace the LPK with Glock OEM parts. If I wasn't going to use the Glock OEM parts, in my opinion, the second best when it comes to cost and quality, and the two coming together in a beautiful matrimony, Shadow Systems lower parts kits have been excellent for me. Some people talk about, but the shark fin and the trigger but shut up. Mine work great. I don't want to hear it.
Yikes. Line in the sand there.
I'm just saying, it's usually people that do it's like, okay, well, what kind of gun do you use it in? My P80. Okay. I'm going to guess that you picked it up pretty bad. All right. The running DLD hardware, I have people send me pictures nearly every day of their polymer 80s, and I'm like, bro, did you close your eyes before you started drilling? Like, what? Anyway, sorry. So I would likely use OEM parts on the LPK, or if OEM lower parts kits were not available, I would use the Shadow Systems lower parts kits because those have proven themselves pretty successful for me. Now, I would like to say I would swap to Glock slide parts kits. However, like I mentioned earlier, the strikers are not compatible. So I would like to run this gun to see how long, how many rounds, like what round count could I get to before the striker breaks. Okay, one of the biggest things you run into with aftermarket Glock parts is that after a while, depending on your system, a lot of people buy cheap Taiwanese slide parts kits and their strikers break, right? A lot of people buy, oh man, there's like these new MIM, metal injected bullshit slide parts kits and lower parts kits. They are terrible. The strikers break from dry firing. It's
Yikes.
yeah, it's crazy. So to be sorry, let me wrap it up here. I would put OEM parts in every single thing that I can, and I would test the dog shit out of it to make sure that it is reliable. And I would put at least 1,000 rounds of FMJ through it, and then I would put probably 1 to 200 rounds of my jacketed hollow points of carry through it, just to make sure that it works. And if it works, if it can do that, then I'm good to go, and I would run that.
You see, I don't get too into the weeds like you do when it comes to parts kits, because I know you've built a lot more Glocks than I have, and I've built some stuff. I've built some stuff in my day. Only thing I would change is obviously the trigger. If it got rid of the hinge trigger, like you said, Gen 1 M&P trigger,
Yeah.
or even I think now the Gen 2, some 2.0s came with them. I would have a little bit more aggressive stippling. Like it has some stippling on here, a touch more, like just a touch more as a carry gun. And I like this because it has these gas pedals kind
Yeah, I
of
like
built
that
into the
too.
frame.
Very comfortable.
Yes. If there was some, again, a little bit of stippling on this, to me, again, new trigger, a little bit more stippling, I would be completely happy with it. Striker, okay. If a striker breaks, I'm calling PSA being like, hey, my striker broke. Can you send me a Dagger striker? And
Yeah.
if they say, well, you got something gun it. No, I don't. I literally ripped the striker out to make sure. No.
Yeah.
I'm not sending a gun in for a striker where I can replace it right then and there.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody has ever sent guns in for warranty, I spent a lot of my career doing that. FN is notorious for your your rear night sights that come from the factory are completely dead, and it's a brand new gun.
Send in the gun.
Send in the gun. You can just send me the slice. I got a pusher. No. You got to send in the gun. Oh, so like you can't just
7
send me.
months later.
It took 3 months.
Wow.
3
Wow.
months for night sights.
And sometimes they'll compromise and say, okay, just send the slide. It's like,
FN,
what?
yeah, FN. They're like, no, you gotta send the whole gun. They're
But
not budging on that. But I do know with PSA, they will service any firearm. It's gonna have to have OEM parts, unfortunately, but most manufacturers are like
yeah.
that. But the good thing is PSA has a amazing lifetime warranty of the firearm, regardless of the owner.
Yeah. I'll add this other piece too. If your striker broke in a Glock, which you'd have to do a lot to break a striker in an OEM Glock. If you're gonna go buy one, you're gonna pay 50 to 75 bucks for an OEM Glock. If you're buying it on some strange place on the internet, it's a high probability of you getting a counterfeit OEM striker. There are so many counterfeit OEM parts out there. It is insane. Me and MGB did a bunch of episodes on that stuff. It's crazy. Now, the beautiful thing here, I think, is that if you break a striker, just using that as the same example, they're like $15 on PSA. I mean, you could, call PSA, right? Or I mean, just go, for 15 bucks, go get a new one. It's and they're pretty quick as well. PSA has done a good job. They're cranking packages out like no other.
Yeah, exactly. And they have such a demand that it takes a little bit to get your stuff, especially if it's like a serialized item or something like that. But I was very pleased. And again, they come with like soft cases too. Like they're not just like a box and they're just like, here you go. Like, no, like
Yeah,
it,
originally they were literally just the
it was like a white PSA box.
cardboard box. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now they're coming with like zippered cases. Like that's the one mine came with.
Hmm.
But yeah, I love this gun. And we're not, and again, we can't stress this enough. Yes, I do have a Palmetto State Armory flag, but they sent that to me for the GAT lab that I'm in, my studio. We both work with PSA guys, so I
Hmm.
don't know, Dark. Have you ever gotten anything on T&E from PSA?
I've got a Palmetto State Armory tattoo, but aside from that,
Is it on your
nothing.
left or right butt cheek?
It's actually a tramp stamp.
Oh,
It's
it's a
right,
tramp
right.
stamp. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Because I want to look. I have a lot of pride when it comes to PSA. Not pride in a gay way, but
I'm sending
no,
this episode to Josiah too, so he's gonna hear
I,
this and be like, "I'm never going on that kid's podcast again." That's
I
fucking
know, I know.
weird.
Look, I actually just talked to Josiah last week when he came on Crump's show. I popped in there just to say hi to him. I'm hard on them because I love them, and I love on them because I'm hard on them. I'm just kidding. No, all jokes aside, I love what they do, and I'm. Oh no, I'm sorry. What was your question? No, I've never gotten an item on T&E from them. I've purchased a bunch of stuff from them.
Exactly. Okay. So
Yeah.
what I was trying to get at is we've both purchased from PSA. So I
Oh
do want
yeah.
to I don't want to make it seem like this episode is like we're like just having like a giant circle jerk of the PSA.
Oh yeah, we make nothing. I mean, we do have like affiliate links and stuff. We do work with them, but aside from that, like PSA didn't call us and say, "Guys, I'm thinking of doing an episode here." No,
Yeah,
like
yeah, no.
this is just us
Because
and
I throughout this entire conversation and going through the like our experiences with daggers and the history, it does sound like we're very pro. Like, yeah, this is awesome. Like last episode, I was like, I like the Glock 19X, not really for me with the color and all this stuff. I prefer the Glock 45. This episode was very, hey, we both like the dagger. We both spent money on it. Like, we both
yeah.
spent our own money. And also
But we would
before
both
we
change things too.
yeah,
We would,
exactly. We would both change things.
yeah.
And before we hop up, I know you have your own chat enabled. I just want to see if there's any questions on your end.
No questions. Just some of the homies talking smack. I used to have a pig, but then I ate him. Someone else says I love bacon. So there's just that normal stuff.
Oh, so a bunch
Um,
of degenerates that, are just mouthing off in comments. I love it.
just talking
Well,
ish.
apparently I'm 400 pounds and I can handle recoil and just stop being a wuss.
See, I
Apparently.
mean, they know us. The people out there really know us.
Yeah, exactly. If you
Yeah.
guys are wondering what that is about, I had a very snarky comment on a recent video, and I was just like, "What? Like the aggression that's coming out of this comment?"
Yeah,
Like,
some people can't handle it. So if they watched a video, they got so frustrated to a point where they said, "You know what? I'm going to give this guy a piece of my mind." And then they selected comment and it was like, "You have to sign in." They're like, "Dang it." Okay, then they go, then they have to sign in, then they have to come back to the video, maybe even search for it again, right? And then find it, then go click the comment, then type, "Oh, blah 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 blah. I'm shit talking because I hate my life," and then click submit, and then go back and see if you said anything or liked it or whatever. People, man, just if people would just put that much energy into themselves, we would be so much further as just like a human race.
yeah, exactly. I'm checking my side, as Walter says, recoil sensitive.
Recoil sensitive. Dude, here's another thing. Okay, so funny thing, you know me, I don't care about recoil, right? Like I'm not a small guy by any means, right? And I
I,
carry a very small 9 millimeter, right?
I can't listen. I care about recoil. I'm not a fan of recoil. No,
Well, I mean,
I don't want to hurt myself.
I got a Serbu Super Shorty, 3-shot 12 gauge with a 6.5
Gay.
barrel. Like I love that. I mean, the Serbu is gay, right? But fuck Mark Serbu. The
Yeah,
I'm just saying recoil wise, right? Like
yeah.
it's a 6.5 inch 12 gauge, right? And like I enjoy shooting that. Like I have fun shooting that. Of course, I wish it was a KEG
I
because
just shot one this weekend, and that's what we're referring to with that
yeah,
comment.
yeah.
I know we're not talking about the dagger, but if you go watch the video on my YouTube channel, it's a YouTube short. I did kind of lean in and get like a power stance because again, it's a short barrel, and I didn't think when I looked at the shotgun shells I loaded, they were pretty hot loads, and they came out, and Walter just looked at it. He's like, "Yeah, those were the hot stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah."
What kind of rounds you put through it?
I don't remember. It had like a wolf on the box. Like it was some stout stuff. It might have been some like Turkish buckshot that
Like, I don't
Walter
know,
got.
it said 3.5 inch or something, I have no idea,
It
right?
had a bear on the box, and it
Yeah.
said something like black magic. I don't
It said it
know.
caused cancer in California, I have no idea. But
But
dude, I
I
like
let those rounds off, and it just I was because again I locked my like whole upper body because I'm expecting like, and I was just like I'm gonna hold on to this like a man, so I get that
mhm.
massive power stance, and it was just like I'm like, oh, I was surprised, but like I racked the last two, and I was just like I just started laughing because I was like, oh, it's not as bad, and he just had this face of like, yeah, I told you.
So it wasn't that bad?
No, it wasn't that bad at all.
So here's an interesting thing. I like when it comes to like all these dudes are like running these, comps and I'm not against comps, but they're like running comps, drilling holes in barrels. And yes, I got a ported 9 as well. I know like to tame the massive recoil of the 9x19, right? Like I get it, right? But there is something to be said about the management of recoil, and especially if you're talking about a platform that you're using for self-defense, home defense, all around just life and liberty type shit. Like when I bought the Shadow Systems XR920C, it's the combat. It's a 17 size grip, 19 size muzzle, similar to a 19X Gen 545, kind of similar to that. Actually, fuck it, we're on Rumble. I can show that.
Yeah. We're on Rumble, so reach into your sack and
Oh.
and
Ooh, was it good for you? No
that's how
kidding.
we get demonetized when we upload this to YouTube.
Yes. Now, just so you guys know, this is safe. By safe, I mean it's useless, not useless. It's actually loaded. But this is the Shadow Systems XR920C. I'm currently putting this through a trial session where I am going to run it and shoot it until it stops working. I'm currently at 1,080 rounds through this, and I did have one hiccup on the burr. There was a burr in there. Whatever. I worked through it. I still have not cleaned it, not maintained it. So I am going to run this until it stops working. I imagine it'll probably go to somewhere between 5 to 7,000 rounds. No cleaning, no maintenance, no oiling, no aegis, no nothing. Okay. Obviously, that's all I use anyway. However, if you handle a Shadow Systems XR920C, what you will feel is the significant difference in weight between a standard Glock, between a dagger or whatever. It is a lot lighter. Now, it doesn't seem like that much of a difference. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But the reality is that you may not feel it when you're just at the range, like pew, 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 but go run a match with it, go run a course with it, go do a training event with it, and you're going to feel it. So, like, yes, 9mm is not a massively recoiling, cartridge. We all know that, but I'm telling you, in a lighter platform, you are absolutely going to feel the the additional recoil, the muzzle flip, and it's just different, right? Now, some people may say like, "Oh, Dark, you're a whatever," right? Like, I don't really give a shit. Go shoot one and tell me that you don't feel a difference. I'm just saying. I challenge you.
Exactly, and that's why I say, guys, go shoot a PSA Dagger because you are going to realize why this gun definitely changed the industry for a lot of reasons. I feel that this gun was, kind of like what the Beretta 92 was back in the 80s or the SIG 226 was. Like those two guns were so iconic that people still to this day are like, I need to get that. I need to get that. People are still down the road going to be like, I need to get a PSA Dagger.
Well, it definitely, and this is where a lot of our episodes are going to start going. Some more so than others, but it's not just about the gun, right? It's about the gun and the impact in the industry. And what they did is they created something that almost nobody can compete with, right? Like PSA said, okay, we're going to make a Gen 3 Glock clone. And everyone was like, awesome. We're going to make a Gen 3 Glock clone that is almost 100%, like 98% parts compatible. Awesome. We're going to make it in house. Awesome. We're going to make it in the United States with United States stuff. Whoa. Okay. Awesome. We're also going to make it under $400. Whoa. Awesome. We're also going to include optics cuts and all this. Like, who else do you know aside from other companies that aren't parts compatible with Glocks that, like we mentioned, like Tori and stuff like that. Taurus plural. What other firearm do you know that fits this category? And people have been trying to come out with similar stuff, and
Bear Creek Arsenal just came out with their Glock clone,
and that's true. Who's the other one that came out with? Anderson came out with
the Krieger or the Kroger, whatever the hell it is. I'd like to try that one against the Dagger.
And they used SCT frames. There was a bunch of other ones that came out. There was the
Capital Armory.
Yeah, that's a different one than Bull Armory, right?
Yeah. Bull Armory. Yeah, Bull Armory. That gun looks cool as shit. The Bull Armory one.
It's different. It's got really weird, very aggressive. It's funny because PSA actually lists this as aggressive texturing, and it's like, for real? Like, I'm curious about that. And who said it's probably a woman that said it was aggressive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, again, I wish that the stippling was a little bit more aggressive, just a scooch.
Luckily, we got an app for that. A
finger scoop. You could obviously, if you like more aggressive stippling, you could go to Liberty Bell Firearms, and he can laser stipple some cool stuff up for you, and use code JoJuice 20% off your entire order. Shameless plug. So Dark, I think we smashed this episode out of the park.
Nailed it.
It was awesome. So guys, comment down below on the Rumble or when this is on YouTube. Obviously, this is going to be put out on YouTube later this week. Well, hopefully by next week we'll have all of our last two episodes onto a new channel, so it's an easier destination for everybody, which is what we're working on. We're working on a logo and all that stuff. What guns do you want to see? I think we're gonna move on to a shotgun or rifle. So we're gonna do some type of long gun next week.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards a Maverick 88.
I like that. I'm kind of leaning towards the 870, but I'm an 870 guy.
I'm a Maverick 88 guy. I'm not an 870 guy.
I mean, I also got, Mossberg products and Remington products and stuff. There was that iconic AR-15 we were talking about. That would be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, the iconic AR-15.
It's not just about the AR-15. It's about the riveting impact that had on the market and how it changed moving forward.
The SR-25 by Knights Armaments.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I could care less about that gun. And everyone's like, I want a real deal SR-25. I'm not paying $30,000 for a 308.
It's not 30.
Oh, we got my buddy Jay Weth out in the friggin' chat. What is up, brother? Hope you're doing well. Guys, check out Jay Weth, part of that Squadros crew. He's saying a lever action. Maybe actually a lever action down the road could be a
yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. Definitely see
especially like the some of the more modern ones out there.
Like Henry's or
there's a few Henry the Big Boy X
the Big Boy X.
Yeah. There's even Marlin has come out There's been a few coming out there that are
Ruger made Marlin. I don't want to touch the Smith & Wesson lever action with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, no. Anything Smith & Wesson touches like that, they turn to shit, right? Like when they started making the Walther PPKs, bro. It's like,
It was
how do you
horrible.
destroy an iconic? You destroyed James Bond for everyone, right? Like, God,
You got to make that a T-shirt.
for real, for real.
Like
But
Smith and Wesson destroyed James Bond for me. Thanks.
dude, like, you know what? Their MMPs, they can run.
Yeah,
They,
they run. Yeah, but they're M&P 12 gauge. No, no,
yeah,
no. Oh
no,
no. Oh no, no. He's not here. Not here right now. Oh no.
no, oh no, yeah, no, that we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that gun at all. We might do the KSG. That'd be a good one to do.
That'd be good.
Um.
Well, we talked about another Keltec that people would probably flip out
Oh
about, but
yeah,
I
the
think
P.
that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
The
That one. That okay, but that's a hand.
P,
That's
the
a handgun.
PP, the
Yeah,
PP.
yeah. That's a handgun. Next week we're gonna do a
Uh-huh.
long gun.
We can do a long gun. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Dude, I will the Winchester 1300, the prison guard shotgun of the century.
yeah. Oh yeah. The
The
1300.
Ruger, ooh, hold up. Hold up.
Damn.
The Ruger Mini 14 ranch gun. That was also the prison guard rifle for a
Oh
long
yeah, yeah.
time.
The
The
mini. Yeah.
the Mini 14, yeah,
I've
or
always wanted a
the
mini, but I don't want to pay $900 for a mini. I'm all set. I can do
I
that.
see, I want the AC 556. The
Well, you
Soldier.
can, but you still have to pay close to $800 for the base gun, and then another like 200 for the stock.
Oh, I'm talking about, like,
Oh, you want the giggle switch? Yeah.
$19,000. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I literally almost bought one back when I had money. I was
We don't have money.
yeah,
We're making this out there.
we don't have money anymore, guys. Yeah, sorry. But no, back when, I was a little bit more paid. I there was an auction, and told myself, hey, if I can get this for less than 13 grand or something, like, I'm gonna pull the trigger. And then it went to 13 grand, and I was like, maybe 13,500, and then it went to like 17, 18. I was like, fuck. But yeah,
Yeah.
one day. It's
Uh,
just cool because it's safe, semi, full auto, 3-round burst, full auto. It's like several different selectors in one. It's just cool. But why would they make it with a pencil barrel like Ruger? What? It's a machine gun. It is made to cook bacon off the barrel, and you make it a pencil barrel. I don't get it. Sorry.
I think they were doing a little bit too much booger sugar back in the 80s when that came out.
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
of nose beers.
Yeah, yeah. But all right, guys. So we've been on for just almost an hour and a half. That's awesome. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, next Sunday at 9 p.m. Make sure you are, if you guys again don't know who I am, my name is Joe. I run Shooting Gallery on YouTube. And my co-host and good friend and brother from another mother, that's Dark, DLD After Dark on YouTube. He runs his show every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Around 10 o'clock. I run the Shooting the Woods podcast on Wednesday here on Rumble. And I'm uploading every day to YouTube just because I'm a savage and I have to try and beat an algorithm. So if you could go follow us on all the social media, I am Shooting Gallery _official. Dark is DLD After Dark, and pretty much that on all things. So
yeah, DLD After Dark on almost everything. And Instagram is DLD _after _dark. Trust me, you'll have to type all of it out because they do not like me on Instagram. So before we go, I'm sure people can guess, but is the dagger a go or a no?
it's a go. It's a definite go
It's
for
a go.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely go for me. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Also, before we go, make sure you check out DLD Hardware. That's where you can get all your jigs and tools and a whole bunch of stuff, especially merch. You can get something where a roofer might be a little bit lazy. Check that out on dldhardware.com because I can say that since we're live streaming on Rumble. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Later. Peace.